Hello fellow Blue Noses, welcome back to the channel. Today we are previewing our visit on Friday night, tomorrow night, to Wrexham. So I've made some notes, going to run through them. So Wrexham is going to be a huge test for us, given our recent performances and form. And they have started playing with the ball a little bit more this year, a little bit more possession type football. Now that they've got a better calibre of player, but they will... Phil Parkinson loves his teams to play long, direct balls, and knowing that we haven't been coping with those recently, I would expect them to try playing that way quite a bit, knowing that they can potentially catch us out. Going into this game, they've only lost once in the last 6 games. They've got a couple of great away wins at Millwall and Norwich, and they got a point at Leicester the other night. So they've been adapting relatively well to the division. That said, they haven't won a game at home yet this year, which is potentially encouraging. Their recruitment this summer, they spent 37.9 million, according to transfermarket.com. And they've done so in bringing in some very good experienced Championship players like Nathan Broadhead, Ben Sheaf, Callum Doyle, Lewis O'Brien, Keith Moore, Cody Connor, George Thompson, Ryan Hardy, Josh Windass, Danny Ward, Isan Kabora, very good player. Their recruitment's been exceptional. They have mainly been setting up in a 3-4-2-1, but they have shown adaptability in switching to a 3-5-2 when it feels it's needed against bigger opponents. That would be my only criticism of Chris Davis, really. We set up with the same formation every single game. We're far too predictable. You know, you scout out to catch us out in that system, and we don't adapt the system. So we're just far too predictable to play against, and you need that adaptability in the league to meet your opponents where they are, sort of thing. I don't know why we don't use the 3-4-2-1 formation that they use, because out of possession it allows you to go to like a back 4 or a back 5, but then when you're in possession and you're attacking, it allows you to have extra bodies forward and have dynamic wingers. I'd be up for trying that formation at some point. They've got the 3rd highest goals scored in this division, and they've scored 6 more goals than us this year. Saying that, they've got the 5th worst defence in this division. Kiefer Moore is obviously going to be a big threat, and I'd personally get Clara to occupy him and mark him out of the game, and then use the other centre-half, which will probably be Robinson coming back in, to cover the back and building attacks from the back. What concerns me going into this as well is injuries. We know Ethan Laird's out with a hamstring injury. It looked like Bright Samuel went off injured the other night, so it then poses the big question, in the current Chris Davis way of setting up that he's very stubborn with, who plays at right back? Samstead might be an option, but if we look at the other night when Bright Samuel went off, he didn't stick him on, so maybe he doesn't feel he can do a job there, and he put a Water there. Hope to God that's not what he's going to do against Wrexham. If he is going to stay with the current system, my personal choice at right back would be Newman. I think he's strong and he's fast up the wing, and he can also nullify their right winger, which will be important. And I'll come on to that in a bit. Personally though, if it was me, I'd change the system. I'd go to a 3-5-2. And what I'd do is I'd then have Robinson on the left side of the 3. I'd have Clara in the middle of the 3. And I'd have Newman on the right of the 3. I think that could work a lot better given the current injury setup. And also given how tough a game it's going to be. As I said, Davis is very stubborn with his formation, and I don't think that always goes in his favour. I also noted, is there a shout on current form for Beadle to come in over Allsop? I don't think Allsop's as good a keeper as he is and as good as he was last year. I don't think he's been in form recently. And it might be time to take him out the firing line and give him a bit of a kick up the backside to up his levels again to be the number one keeper and possibly give Beadle a chance. I'd be inclined to go with that and with the 3-5-2. We then look at Wrexham and some of their strengths. So far this year, they've been very good and very fast at getting down the wings and then getting balls into the box. So our fullbacks are going to have to be at their very best because they're dangerous on the wings. They're also very good at finishing their scoring chances. They're good at coming back from losing positions. They're good at creating goal-scoring opportunities. They're very good in the aerial duels. They've got a very tall squad that are very good in the aerial duels. They're good at stealing the ball from opposition. And they're very good on set pieces, which doesn't bode well because we haven't been good on set pieces, either in defence or attack. And that'll be potentially where they think they can hurt us. And their weaknesses, I've noted that defending against through ball attacks, they're no good at. They're also no good at defending against skillful players, which is where I hope that he starts with Doyle again in the middle. And, you know, Damari Gray has a good night as well because they're the kind of flair players that can kind of pull in that bit of trickery and stuff and really hurt them. They're very weak at protecting a lead. So if we do go a goal behind, as long as we can bring our A game attacking wise, I don't think we have to be too kind of worried because they're not very good at protecting the lead. They're very weak at stopping opponents from creating chances, but then again, we're weak at creating chances at the minute. And they're very weak at defending against attacks down the wings. So our wingers are going to have to be, you know, pretty good on the night. If I'm brutally honest, if you offered me a point at this moment in time, I would absolutely snatch your hand off. But there we go. It's going to be a tough match, tough test, given our recent form. Will Davies change his system? Will Beadle come in for Allsop? What's he going to do about the right-back situation if he doesn't change his system? Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. For now, though, Blue Noses, please like the video. Give me a comment on your thoughts for Wrexham and how it'll go and how you'd line up, etc. And your score predictions. Hit the notification button and the subscribe button on the channel. That would massively help me and it would be hugely appreciated. And go tell a friend about the channel. For now, though, keep right on, Blue Noses. Up the Blues!